Boxing Truth here. It's fight week. A lot of fights to watch this Saturday on both sides of the pond. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this heavyweight title fight between the IBF champion Charles Martin and the challenger Anthony Joshua. And what's a anticipated heavyweight fight between two young up-and-coming guys in the heavyweight division. Charles Martin happens to be the IBF champ, but he's a guy who has a lot of questions surrounding him. Like, is he a legitimate champion? He was pretty much given a vacant title shot following Tyson Fury being stripped for opting to pursue the rematch with Klitschko. So Tyson Fury being stripped created a great opportunity for Charles Martin, who was supposed to fight Dominic Breazeale before the opportunity came calling for him to challenge for a world title. Pulled out of the Breazeale fight. Took the fight with Glasgow for the vacant strap from the IBF. Pretty much was gifted the belt because Glasgow ended up hurting himself and just falling down and wasn't able to continue. So we really couldn't get much answers from Charles Martin that night when he won the heavyweight title. He is a good fighter. He is undefeated. He's got a lot of knockouts. He's a good athlete. He's got footwork. He's mobile on his feet. He could sidestep and counter. He's got good punching power. He's looked good in some of his wins. He's knocking guys out. Looked tremendous. Lets his hands go in some of these fights. But not against the best quality of opposition. He's the champion, but in terms of experience and, the type of opponents that he fought, they're practically the same level, really. Him and Anthony Joshua, in terms of experience, the type of opponents they fought. I mean, Martin, he's fought and beaten some undefeated guys coming up. And Anthony Joshua's last two fights, he fought and knocked out undefeated guys that were coming up, but they weren't world beaters. They were untested prospects. So Anthony Joshua, he's a physical specimen, very good athlete, all-around athlete, excelled at other sports before he took up boxing. He took up boxing very late in his life, 18 years of age. Not really the ideal time to start boxing, but it's not the best, but it's definitely doable to start at 18 and still to have a successful career. And Anthony Joshua was able to beat the odds. He took up boxing at 18. He was able to compete on an international level despite the limited amateur experience that he got. Was able to make it to the Olympic team. He did get a gift decision in the Olympics, maybe even a couple. But for sure, he definitely lost to that Cuban dude, Savon, in the first round of the Olympics. He got outboxed in that fight, just got out-touched. Savon just landed the cleaner shots, but Anthony Joshua got the hometown decision. The Olympics in 2012 were in London, so Anthony Joshua was on his home soil. Perhaps got a political amateur decision. But he won the gold medal in 15 fights in his career. He's created a lot of buzz in the heavyweight division. He's scoring tremendous knockouts, devastating knockouts. Most opponents can't go more than 2 rounds with him. He stepped up recently against Dillian Whyte. I mostly regard him as the best opponent he fought. He got tested in the fight. He got hurt in the fight. His chin was tested. He passed the test, however. He was able to recover and record a devastating knockout in the middle rounds, was able to showcase power beyond the second round. Showed that, if someone takes him a little deep into the deeper waters, that he ain't going to drown, that he could still produce a tremendous knockout. And that's what he did against Dillian Whyte, who looked like a ragdoll, being drawn around the ring and just absolutely destroyed by that uppercut that Joshua landed in the fight. This is a fight that I've been going back and forth Ever since it was announced, when it was first announced, I was leaning towards Charles Martin because of his, he's better on his feet. He's more agile. He's the type of guy that uses more movement. Maybe could provide more problems, than perhaps Joshua could towards Martin, because Joshua's still green. He's still coming up, still in the development stage, but he's fighting an opponent that's still unproven. Recently stepped up as well, but we couldn't get much answers against Glaskov. So now we're finally going to get some answers when they fight each other. These two are practically evenly matched. Martin's a very confident. He's saying he's going to knock out Joshua. And when it comes to overall ability between the two fighters, Anthony Joshua is the more dynamic fighter offensively. He's more explosive with his punches. He's quicker with his punches, quicker from the trigger. He throws a lot of devastating shots. Very, very textbook with his punches. Very good technique. Throws his combinations very well. Powerful body punches. He's a guy he's an exciting fighter to watch. I mean, you watch him fight. He doesn't, he comes to fight. He comes to put on a show, get a devastating knockout. He comes forward, is explosive with his combinations. Hardly takes a backward step. He's just not that type of fighter that's about finesse. He doesn't worry about his footwork. He doesn't fight off his back foot. He doesn't punch off angles. He's a guy that likes to stay in the pocket, be in range where he can land his devastating blows. And he likes to pick off his opponent punches, counter in between his opponent punches. He's a very good counter puncher with both hands, his right and his left hand. The only thing that he lacks is a jab, and that's important at the world-class level. You need a jab to compete with world-class level guys, because that's the most important punch in boxing. You need that punch to set up openings for your other shots to land. And Anthony Joshua he doesn't really show much commitment to his jab. When he throws a jab, it's really not a punch that he tries to throw it to be effective. He really just throws it just to throw it, but he's really trying to land some other shots. He's just trying to give his opponent different looks. But he needs to develop more of a concrete type of jab, because he got criticized he's been getting shitting on by Fury. Fury believes Martin's going to knock Joshua out. He calls him a pointless, a meaningless bodybuilder who can't fight, who can't box, just a power puncher with no jab. And he feels Martin is just going to outbox him. It's going to be, and he's going to get chinned in the fight. But as the fight's getting closer, I was picking Charles Martin at first because of the style he provides, the southpaw style, the movement, the sidestep counters. But offensively, he's not as dynamic as Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's flat-footed. He's can be sloppy with his footwork, can be stiff with his movement, but he just throws more dynamic punches, more powerful, more explosive. It's a very tough pick, but I think Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight. He's got the home court advantage. A lot of pressure, though, to win this fight. But it's the right type of opponent. I don't think he's in over his head. He's in there with a guy with around the same amount of experience, fought the same type of opponents. Both have beaten undefeated guys coming up. Both have stepped up recently. Martin more so because of the level of opponent that he fought, but didn't get the rounds in needed to provide some answers. I believe Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight. He's going to get a knockout in the middle rounds, I would say around the 5th. I could be wrong, Martin, because he could provide a lot of problems. He could land that right hook of his. He could sidestep and counter Joshua. Joshua's chin is a question mark. Did get rocked in his last fight. The movement of Martin could be problematic for Joshua because Joshua's feet are a little, they're not as fast, not as fluid. But I just think Joshua's the more dynamic puncher, heavier puncher, more arsenal offensively with his shots. He's going to be amped up for this fight. First world title shot. And this is the fight where it could lead to huge money potential fights. Joshua's already stated if he wins on April 9, will not hesitate to go after David Haye. Will not hesitate to go after Fury. Fury's been talking a lot of shit. Thinks Joshua's going to get chinned. Says he wants him to win because he thinks he's easy work for a huge payday. But I got Anthony Joshua by 5th round knockout over Charles Martin, becoming a new IBF heavyweight champion. Y'all let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.